Coming up this week, off-screen.
The Sicario becomes a Soldado.
Shailene Woodley is Adrift.
Jeremy Renner plays Tag.
Emily Mortimer opens a bookshop.
And a cult drama gets endless.
All those to come and more, off-screen.
This is Off-Screen. Off-Screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off-Screen, the on-screen radio show.
Ooh, welcome to Off-Screen. I'm Van Carr.
I'm Kelly Needham.
Welcome back, Kel. You've not done this in ages.
I know, sloppy thirds again, as usual.
Because it's usually Case, then John, then you.
Then me, you know.
There's a pecking order, and then somewhere down the line we get to Jeremy Renner, because that's how franchises work. Sooner like you run out, you just get Jeremy Renner.
He's just that guy, he's always there waiting.
He is.
By the phone.
That's literally what happens. See, you want to do a Bourne series, and then we don't know if we're going to carry on. Screw it, just get Jeremy Renner. And then you want to do a Mission Impossible series. We don't know if we can get Cruise back. Screw it, just get Jeremy Renner.
Just get him.
And then nothing comes of it.
Well.
I'd imagine he must get paid pennies on the dollar at this rate.
He was in that advert as well, wasn't he, for like phones, like family phone plan. And it was
yeah, that was the purple thing, wasn't it? Like the superhero purple family kind of Incredibles thing, wasn't it? Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, well, so, aside from bashing Mr. Renner, and he's perfectly fine, we love Mr. Renner.
He's freaking Hawkeye.
He's freaking Hawkeye, exactly. Or apparently Ronin in the next one, but never mind. But that's a comics thing. Anyway, so before we get to the news, before we get to the reviews, top 5...
All the good stuff.
All the goodies. All the chocolatey goodness. We need some film news to start. What you got for me? What you got to start us off?
I've got breaking news here.
This is breaking as well, isn't it? Yeah, go on, what have we got?
So Jared Leto apparently is going to play the lead in a Spidey spin-off, which is called Morbius.
Right, okay, so...
Tell me more, I have no idea.
Right, okay, I'll be honest with you. Morbius is a character. Mobius? I always thought it was Mobius, but it is actually Morbius.
There's definitely an R in there.
Right, my knowledge of Morbius, I'm going to be really honest, largely comes from the 90s Spider-Man animated series that in the UK we used to get on. Was it Live and Kicking or Going Live? One of those.
It was one of the two.
Saturday morning BBC One kid shows?
Yeah.
Because it used to be like a 20-minute cartoon and you'd get it in two halves.
Yeah.
And they never told you when the second half was going to be on.
Just to keep you interested.
Yeah, so you like turn on like 9:40 and watch the first 10 minutes, and then you have to sit through like an hour of Emma Forbes and Andy
Sweet
Peters.
Valley High.
Yeah, like dossing around, and then eventually they got to the second half. You know, that was how it worked. And Morbius, I always remember from my favourite arc of that series, which was the Man Spider thing. He basically he's a scientist. He's like a rival classmate of Peter Parker's.
Okay.
Who I think he's Eastern European.
So he's meant to be young.
He's young. He's meant to... Well, I mean, obviously all of this is changing because, for instance, in the next Spider-Man movie, which apparently, spoiler alert, is going to be called Far From Home.
Yes, big spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, Tom Holland spoiled it, so I think we're okay. As long as Tom Holland's doing the spoiling.
Bless him.
You know, and he does that a lot, doesn't he?
And he's not good.
He's not good at secrets. He's not at all. But, so apparently in Far From Home, like, Jake Gyllenhaal's going to be Mysterio. And
nice.
I think, okay, so they're going to play with the continuity a little bit. And they played with, the idea of the Vulture last time around. But so now we're going to get, Morbius is going to be Jared Leto. So I'm sure maybe he'll be a teacher or a college professor or something like that. But the idea is he's an Eastern European rival of Peter Parker's. He tries to cure himself of a disease or run an experiment on himself, and he becomes a vampire, plasma-sucking vampire.
Ooh.
And he's instead of fangs, he has little, like, suckers on his fingers, like, in his paws. Ooh. So he literally places his hand, his palm on your, like, chest, and he sucks the plasma out of you.
It's not as sexy, is it?
It's not quite.
Is he sparkly when he's in the moonlight?
No, he's kind of greeny-grey, actually, with, like, a flat top.
We've really moved on from the sexy vampire phase, haven't we?
We have. I mean, I just imagine the Twilight series would be very, very different if it was all about, like, palm plasma sucking.
And presumably as well that this is going to be like Venom, where it's in no way connected to the MCU.
Yes, it's in no way connected to the MCU, and in the case, I'd imagine, just as with the case of Venom, it will make increasingly little sense that it exists if it isn't. because I'm sorry, I'll never quite get over the idea. If Venom isn't Venom because of Spider-Man, why does he look like evil Spider-Man?
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
Maybe they've thought of something. Maybe it's in the film. We'll see.
Pretty much. Those Venom trailers are terrible, aren't
I
they?
know.
They're really... And you're a really big Tom Hardy fan.
I am. Mind you, when he did that Sky advert with the cup of tea in the cafe, I thought, what's going on?
Oh, good Lord.
What's
That
going
is
on,
terrible.
love? What's going on? Anyway, have you heard who's going to lead the project?
Oh, is this Daniel Espinosa? You mentioned this to me.
It is.
So Daniel Espinosa directed Safe House with Ryan Reynolds and Denzel. And then he directed Life.
Yes.
Was it last year, the year before? With Gyllenhaal.
Last year, I want to say. With Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds.
And Rebecca Ferguson, who's not the one from the X Factor, but actually the actress from... the other Rebecca Ferguson.
One, yeah.
It's so rare that we get to say the X Factor one is the original, isn't it? Because usually the X Factor is the cover.
Yeah.
So,
We just like to flip it on its head.
But that was... Do you remember when... do you remember back when that movie was out and there was that whole rumour thing that Life was going to be like a stealth prequel to Venom?
Oh, no.
It was like a rumour for like 6 months.
And
then everyone saw the movie and like, no, actually the movie just kind of sucks, but...
So I've still not watched it.
Actually, it doesn't suck. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine.
It's got some pretty men in it, so I was kind of...
There's pretty men.
Pretty men.
But, okay, so we need to do some plugs, so let's plug our podcast edition.
Let's do it.
We're big in the podcast, though.
How can the folks hear us? Hear us rambling, as we always do when it's you and I.
Well, there's the radio edit, which I presume most people listen to, and then there's the extended version where we pack in all the film news and reviews that we can't do on the show. And the moment of cage, naturally. Yeah, because we can't forget that. And I've got a doozy for you this week as well. I've got a doozy for you from a Nicolas Cage movie I've never seen.
What?
I've only seen through clips.
What?
But I know, because the movie just looks terrible, and I just can't bring myself to watch it.
Yeah, but like, isn't that the joy of Nicolas Cage?
It is, but let's not forget that Nicolas Cage's next massive film is Nicolas Cage versus a jaguar on a ship.
Sounds amazing.
I can't wait for that.
Mind you, having said that, I tried to make my way recently through Inconceivable.
Oh, that's awful.
I had to turn it off, and like I can make my way through some rubbish, as you well know. But
what I really love about that is the wife is Gina Gershon, and the surrogate mum, because it's like a 90s suburban thriller, isn't it? One of those like adult thrillers you used to get in the 90s,
yes,
but a really, really rubbish version.
Really bad.
Like what was the one Katherine Heigl did?
Oh,
Unforgettable.
Unforgettable, yes.
That was awful. Inconceivable is not as bad as Unforgettable. They've always got the same kind of titles.
Well, exactly.
But yeah, who is the surrogate mum that they had in that? She was the blonde lady from the last series of Scrubs.
Yes,
the Australian lady.
I can't remember what her name is. She's very pretty in it.
She's very pretty, but she's dreadful in it and naked a lot.
Yes.
A lot of nudity in that.
And of course she's a lesbian because...
of course,
like,
snatch, yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Podcasts, yeah, they're a thing. Yeah, go on iTunes, Acast, Deezer, TuneIn, Libsyn, pick your podcast platform of choice. Spotify, I believe we're on there now. It's sort of a work in progress, that one, because I think I have to feed through Libsyn. Anyway, yeah, so go on there, off screen. It's on there. It's noticeably about 30 minutes longer than the radio edits.
And it's all me.
And it's all fun.
Well, that's
/ you. But there we are. Okay, so first review of the week. And we're going to put our strong foot forward first. So we're going to talk about Sicario, Soldado, or Sicario 2, Soldado, or Sicario, Day of the Soldado.
What on earth is a Soldado?
Well, this is the thing. Do you remember when Sicario came out? And the tagline for the movie was Sicario means assassin.
I don't even remember that.
That was the tagline for Sicario. The tagline was literally to explain the title. And I think they missed a trick because the tagline for Soldado should have been Soldado means soldier. So it's gone from assassin to soldier. So what you've got is a sequel that removes Emily Blunt. So Emily,
she's not in it.
She's not in it. No Emily Blunt, no Daniel Kaluuya either.
Oh.
Right, but the rest of the world stays intact. So it's set within the world of the first movie, and it takes place... It's not specified, but, you'd imagine it to be sort of 2 years later, because the film is 2 years later. And, right, so the general gist is there's a terrorist attack. There are ties to ISIS that have gone through the cartels, the Mexican cartels. And the US government, represented by the Secretary of Defense, who's Matthew Modine, if you remember the first movie, they turn to it's either Graves or Graver, and it varies depending on whose synopsis you read. Played by Josh Brolin, a.k.a. best head of hair in Hollywood, naturally.
Yes.
And he's having the best year of his career. He really is, because, like, 3 massive movies in,
That's true.
6 weeks.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know about Avengers. Like,
Yeah, does anyone? Do you know? Do you all know there's an Avengers movie out? Like, there's this movie, like superheroes are in it, and there's a big purple dude that they fight, and he's not like Grimace. He's like an alien warlord dude, and that's Josh.
it was
Brolin.
Loki.
Loki's purple Loki.
Yeah, Loki.
Perky.
Perky? Sure.
Purple Loki is perky. Anyway, so the US government turns to their favourite Black Ops man, Mr. Graves / Graver, depending on who you read, and they ask him, right, we want you to eliminate the cartels. And he says very simply, right, I'll do it, but I need to get dirty. And they say, cool, that's what you're good for. He then turns to his best man, Alejandro, played by Benicio del Toro from the first movie, who you might remember, bit of a ruthless git. If you ever saw the first one.
You know, there was a bit of violence in that film.
He was offing cats left, right, and centre in the first one.
It was a bit grim.
I mean, his business card literally read, Alejandro, kicking ass and taking names. In this movie, basically, the general plan they come up with is a false flag operation. So what they decide to do is they decide to abduct the teenage daughter of the head of a cartel. A cartel to whom Benicio's character has personal ties. You'll get this in the clip in a minute. And this is designed to start a war between the cartels.
Oh, I see.
However, it quickly spirals out of control. Local police get involved, the local government gets involved, the US government starts to panic and tries to shut the operation down. And what you have then are 2 parallel storylines. You have Graves on the northern side of the border trying to handle the political side of it, trying to be like, keep my boys in there, come on, we've got this going. If you want it, you've got to have the nerve to see this through. And on the other side of the border, you've got Benicio and the teenage girl, played by Isabella Monet, Mona, I think her name is, who was the young female lead in the last Transformers movie.
Sure.
And the young Mexican girl that Mark Wahlberg's character kept referring to as J-Lo, because racial sensitivity is a hallmark of Michael Bay movies.
Woke.
Yeah, she's also going to be the lead in the Dora the Explorer reboot next year. So that's actually happening. So you've got Benicio and the teenage girl, and his mission is to try and get her to the border, get her to safety. However, the US government have ordered Graves, this can't happen, we need rid of the girl. So there's something of a moral quandary, and here's a clip.
No rules this time. Turning you loose.
How loose?
Carlos Reyes. How's that for loose? It's your chance to get even for your family. You're gonna help us start a war.
With who?
Everyone.
It's a bit like that line from San Andreas, isn't it? Who should we call? Everyone.
Do you know, I watched that the other day and I just couldn't help but shout Ghostbusters. Like, it just has to be done. There's no other answer to that question.
What do? We rebuild. I love San Andreas. Okay, so very quickly, this comes to us. This has Denis Villeneuve, who directed the first movie, involved to a certain degree.
Old Dennis.
And old Dennis, yeah, been busy with his Blade running. Blade running and his Dune and his not Bond. And also Taylor Sheridan returning as screenwriter. And the whole thing with the last movie was there was great strength in the writing from Taylor Sheridan because I think it was his first major project. And then he went on to do Hell or High Water and Wind River. And basically he's really setting a precedent as just this really great writer of proper R-rated adult movies.
Yeah.
Instead, this time you get the director of Suburra, which was the Italian mafia movie from last year. Really good movie. Stefano Sollima. Big fan of him. Really big fan of him. And he directed Gomorrah years ago. He likes his foreign language crime movies. He's very good at them. He makes them very gritty, makes them very raw. And he's the perfect match for this material. this is a lot more conventional a narrative than the first movie is. The first movie very much liked to wade around in the murkiness of that world. And the fact that Emily Blunt's character kind of started as innocent as she was and ended how she did, it was naturally lent towards that.
It was exhausting, that film.
It was because it was relentless.
Yeah.
This is as relentless, but a lot more straightforward because you've lost a lot of the introspection that you got with the Emily Blunt character, and the focus.
She was such a great character.
She was. The focus now is Benicio del Toro. It seems he's now the central figure, and it does feel a lot like, let's take the best supporting character and make him the forefront. It's kind of what happened with the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Like in the first movie, Jack Sparrow is not the main character, but everyone loves him. So when you make the sequels, he's got to be the primary character. There's a lot of that here, where everyone loved Benicio. Now it's Benicio's movie.
Tell me, it's more successful though than Jack Sparrow.
It's a lot better a sequel. I mean, it's a great movie. It is a really great movie. It is hard. It is brutal. It is relentless. It's fantastically shot. Wonderful cinematography. Really great score. Very ominous, threatening score that just keeps the dread going all the way through it. You never quite know where it's going, and you hope that will lead to some genuine surprises. It does wimp out on the surprises. There is a certain plot mechanic, for instance, involving Benicio's character that is a lot wimpier than you would want it to be, and is clearly there because, well, we got to have a chapter 3. And yeah, I didn't quite want that. Having said that, I thought the film was terrific. I thought Josh Brolin was great. I thought Catherine Keener as the sort of new boss, great. Benicio, always fun to watch. There's some great interplay between Benicio del Toro and Josh Brolin.
Yeah, I bet that's really fun.
It is, but I mean, to be fair, the hints that we got for that in the first movie were great as well, and there's a lot more of it here. If you liked the first movie, you'll love this, but when you stop to think about it afterwards, you will have to admit it is a weaker sequel. It's a weaker film, still a great film, but it is a weaker film. Having said that, the bar is already so high on this that it can slum it and still be terrific.
Still pretty successful for a sequel.
Exactly. And I mean, I personally can't wait to see this again. I want to double bill the pair of them again. By the way, for the record, on this show, forevermore, this is just going to be called Soldado. I've not got time in life to be putting colons, day of, and all that nonsense in. It's just Soldado. Soldado means soldier. That should have been the tagline. It's Soldado to me.
Change approved.
Change approved. There we are. If we're going to Cougar Town this, change approved.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
Come with me if you want to.
And we're back, Ms. Needham. So, before we get to some more film news, let's have a quick look at The Endless, which is out this week as well. This is brought to us. This is written and co-directed, by Justin Benson, who also stars as well. Co-director Aaron Moorhead, and he also co-stars as well. It's very much a sort of
quite insular.
It's a very insular is the word you want. This is kind of like a Duplass horror drama, is the best way to describe it, like a mumblecore horror drama.
Oh, it sounds horrible.
Well, I mean,
not to prejudge.
It's not wonderful. I mean, it's all right. It's pretty good. It's not wonderful though. The general gist is you've got two adult brothers who have been members of a UFO-centric cult in their younger years. They've escaped together and they've gone and made lives themselves. They run a beer company, I believe, like they're like salesmen for a beer company, and they receive a message that sends them back to the cult, like to revisit the cult after all these years, try and get some closure. They discover that the prophecy that their cult was centered around, which involves the emergence of a second and third moon in the sky, has started to unfold. And it brings into question, hang on, were we wrong to leave this cult? Was there actually something to it after all this? What actually is the story behind it? And therein lies the drama, so here's a clip.
How is that possible?
It's crazy, right? Some kind of atmospheric mirroring effect. It's like the Northern Lights. Anyway, 2 moons brings the truth, 3 signifies the ascension.
All right, that just all sounds like metaphor again.
No. You know that physics equation in my room?
Yeah?
That's what it is to me. I still haven't finished that.
So this has a great level of intrigue to it. It does build its suspense on its concept really well. I've got to give them that. It does genuinely intrigue. I would argue that it's better directed and better acted than it is written. I think in terms of it, the problems with it do lie in the story, and I think it does run circles around itself to try and keep itself intriguing.
Yeah.
On a basic level, that intrigue works. The performances are there. I mean, I liked the brothers very much. I liked Austin Moorhead. I liked Justin Benson. I just never quite bought into the suspense of it. I was intrigued, but I wasn't really on the edge of my seat waiting to see where this goes. Like I say, directorially, very strong.
Yeah.
Performance-wise, really good. I really liked it. To say it's a film that has no real name talent to it as such. And the concept's good, but the story isn't quite there. And it does fall back on its mumblecore sort of origins a bit too much for my liking.
That clip almost sent me to sleep, I'm not going to lie.
It is one of those films you think, if you're not in on this on the ground level, then it's really not going to be for you. I don't think it's particularly going to win you over if you're not already a part of sort of the mumblecore scene. If you don't know your Duplasses from your Todd Salons, then this is really not potentially going to win you over. I couldn't show this to my mum on a Sunday afternoon and have her enjoy it. It wouldn't happen. For one thing, it doesn't star Idris Elba, so it wouldn't happen.
Hey, that is a serious criteria for
that really is for me. I did like it, but I do appreciate it's very much not for everyone. I do think it's something unusual, though, and that for me, that is a reason to give it that thumbs up.
But is there payoff for the intrigue? I mean, obviously, no spoilers here, but because that's the thing with films these days. There's so many really great ones. You've got suspense, you're really into it, and then the twist or the reveal at the end, you're like,
all foreplay, no follow through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite.
To be honest with you, it's one of those films where you get out of it what you put in. And
say no more.
Yeah, exactly. So, have you got a quick piece of film news for me before we get to the top 10?
I certainly have. So, apparently there's this film called Top Gun. I don't know if
I'm familiar with it. I saw it written on the men's room wall once.
Yeah.
Something about Wingman. I don't know.
Yeah. But apparently there's a sequel anyway, and there's some folks that are up for the main character. So, Nicholas Hoult.
Oh, Nicky Hoult.
Nicky Hoult.
Remember when he was just the kid from About a Boy?
With that terrible haircut.
with his Vulcan bowl cut.
Terrible. Yeah. So he's up for it. Glenn Powell.
I loves me some Glenn Powell.
Some Gwen Powell.
Gwen Powell.
That's Glenn's sister.
That's Glenn's sister, yeah.
And then the last one I'm not too excited about, I'll be honest. Miles Teller.
I'm never excited about it. Did you know, actually, Miles Teller was meant to be the male lead in Adrift, which we're reviewing shortly. And then, because he's worked with Shailene Woodley so many times, that it just seemed natural.
Oh, yeah, of
it would have been
course.
their 5th film together, apparently.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, they did
Mind
a lot.
you, there's quite a few of them.
Divergence, yeah.
Insurgent, whatever they were called.
Detergent, regurgent. Yeah.
Really good.
But yeah, Glenn Powell. Give it to Glenn Powell, please. Glenn Powell should be the Green Lantern. I really want Glenn Powell to be a massive success. I love the guy. He's so good in Everybody Wants Some. Mm-hmm. He's in a very small role. He's terrific in Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
I'm just a big fan of the guy. He was in Scream Queens.
Was he?
As well? He's the guy that has the weird name that's like 2 first names.
Oh, of course.
You know the one? Yeah, the character? Yeah. The jock who has 2 first names.
Yeah.
I love Glenn Powell. I think he's great. And I really want to rewatch Everybody Wants Some.
Just for Glenn Powell.
Well, just for him and Tyler Hoechlin, who now plays Superman on Supergirl. So on the show Supergirl. I don't mean he's Superman physically on Supergirl. That'd be just weird.
That'd be creepy.
They're cousins. I know it's Kansas, but they're cousins. Anyway, please give it to Glenn Powell. I mean, Joseph Kosinski is a good director. He did Oblivion.
Yes.
Did Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
Why not? It's Top Gun Maverick, isn't it, I think?
I don't know. Is that what it's called?
But it's got Tom Cruise returning. It's got
And
Val
Kilmer.
Valley's Kilmers.
Kilmers.
I look forward to it. I really do. And that's coming in the next couple of years.
Well, there you go. We're for Glenn Powell then.
We are Team Powell. We're Team Powell up in here.
Who's making it? Paramount? If you're listening, Paramount.
I think it is Paramount, yeah. Should we do the top 5 for this week?
Let's do it.
Let's get on this.
Number 5.
And we're back and dancing. No? Long time?
You're so used to that, because that was our intro for so long.
It's Solo, a Star Wars story.
It's fine, isn't it? Have you seen Solo?
Do you know, I enjoy Star Wars. I just didn't want to see this one.
Did you not?
I'll watch it, if someone, makes me see it, I'll watch it. But I don't know, I just wasn't interested.
It's fine, but you sit through the entirety of it and just think, this is so unnecessary, so superfluous. It just didn't need to exist. But you know what? You'd come back and say, yeah, I had a few laughs. I had a few thrills. It's fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It's fine. It's the Tomorrow Never Dies of the Star Wars saga. That's what I'll say. It's kind of like that.
I just kind of would have preferred that they did the same thing that they did before. What was the one called? The other Star Wars story?
Rogue One?
Rogue One. Where it's just unfamiliar characters.
You'd rather have something new.
I'd rather have something like that, yeah, rather than, here's young whoever.
Do we have a tweet on the matter, though?
We do, of course. So this is from @EarthEagleGT.
Okay, there.
Sure, why not?
Yep.
And he says, just watched #Solo, a Star Wars story. It was way better than I thought. I don't understand all the hate for it.
Fair.
Number 4.
We got Deadpool 2.
Did you like this, Avin? Because I've not had a chance to talk to you. We haven't talked films in a long time.
I know.
So, did you like Deadpool 2? I imagine you
did.
saw it opening day, can't I?
I saw it pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly.
Yes, I did. I enjoyed it. It's nowhere near as good as the first one.
It's not, is
Let's
it?
be honest, it's not.
It's still good.
But it's still good.
It's still good. And you laughed a lot and you had some fun with it.
The baby legs,
Yeah. It's not as funny as Baby Hand, though, is it?
No, it wasn't.
That seems to be the perfect analogy for the film, actually.
Yeah.
Baby legs, funny, not as funny as Baby Hand.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like that sums up Deadpool 2 for me. So, has anyone tweeted in the affirmative, in the negative? What have they said?
Yes, we have a lady called Louise, and she's at Adipose site. I don't know. Whatever.
Adipose is a Doctor Who reference.
Oh,
so,
Adipose site. So she says, finally got to see #Deadpool 2 tonight. So hilarious. Loved it, especially the first part to the Dolly Parton soundtrack with a crying emoji, laughing crying. Debating becoming Canadian as a tribute to @Van City Reynolds.
Well, who hasn't looked at Ryan Reynolds and said, I too wish I was Canadian?
Number 3.
Hereditary.
Have you seen this?
I'm desperate to. And
Oh, man.
I think I'm seeing it this weekend.
I figured because you didn't leap up with excitement that you hadn't seen it.
You know how much I love horror films.
I figure you didn't leap up with excitement or hatred, and it seems to get either.
Yeah, so I hear.
I don't get the hatred personally, and every time you get more than 2 or 3 critics in a room the last few weeks, Hereditary just comes up in conversation. Like, did you like Hereditary? Did you hate it? Or were you on the fence? And I'm one that really loved it. And there are some who hated it, and there are some who sort of sat on the fence with it. There's some who, kind of half and half, liked it and then didn't. And Kerma, for instance, liked it and then didn't.
Sure. What has he thought about it?
And, well, that was it. He seemed to like the setup and then didn't quite like where it went. I loved it. I thought it played a really good shell game with kind of what it was about. But
this is it. I'm like, I want to know nothing.
That's it. If you know nothing, it plays that sort of, the nut in the cup, in the 3 cups kind of game with what it is about. The problem is that once it does show you its hand, once it does show you what it is about, it is a little bit predictable. You have seen that movie before.
Yeah.
But it is very well done. It's really well done. And I think Case and I said, we agreed, sorry, it was kind of, this was to A24 what Kubo and the Two Strings was to Leica. It's, it's not their best movie, but it's kind of a greatest hits. It's kind of this is, the best bits from all of our movies. Doesn't mean it's their best movie. It just means this is the show reel. This is what we show our friends when we want to say, what is it we do? We make this.
Nice.
So, who's tweeted us? Go on, what we got?
So we've got @Chad Zapier. Sure. And they say, if you want to feel that weird, disturbing stomach feeling, then watch Hereditary.
Couldn't agree more.
Number 2.
Life, finds a way.
It's Jurassic World. Fallen Kingdom, I want to say.
Fallen Kingdom. What was wrong with Jurassic Kingdom? Anyway. But have you had the pleasure?
I have, indeed.
Okay, because you like a good Jurassic Park movie.
I do.
You like a bit of Chris Pratt.
Oh, I definitely do.
You love a bit of Jeff Goldblum because you're human. You've got 2 eyes and a heart, don't you? So, yeah. So, what do you think?
Same as Deadpool.
Same
I
as
liked it,
You didn't love
but
it?
it wasn't as good as the first one.
When you say the first one, do you mean Jurassic World or
Of course,
Jurassic
yeah.
Park?
Oh, well, obviously. It's obviously not as good as Jurassic Park, but no, I mean of the world
Of Jurassic,
set of series. Yeah. It's just not as good. And I feel like it's one of those films where, and this is going to sound really stupid because it's a film about dinosaurs, but I feel like even more so than Jurassic World, you have to suspend your disbelief.
Well, yeah, I mean,
To enjoy it,
no
you know
heels
what I mean?
this time, at least.
Yeah, well, but you know what I mean, though. You just
Yeah.
have to kind of go, yeah, that's ridiculous, but I'm watching a film about dinosaurs.
I think now that they've taken it into the sort of realm of genetically crossed dinosaurs
Yeah.
and all this stuff, I think it has gone in a far more outright sci-fi direction than it
Yeah.
already was. Because Jurassic Park, you watch it and you really don't feel like you're watching a sci-fi movie.
No.
And I think with Jurassic World and now Fallen Kingdom, I think you do feel now like you're watching a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, I mean, we need to have a word about that ending, but we'll do that when we're not recording.
Or we can do it in the podcast extras.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
mean-
just a spoiler alert for the podcast. We can talk that ending. Because it's going to go nowhere, because this series does not do consequences.
Indeed.
So has anyone tweeted?
They have indeed. So we've got at Rocky Marie, and they say, Jurassic World got me in the feels. I cried, laughed, had a few panic/anxiety attacks throughout, but honestly, 10 out of 10. And then we've got a couple of dinosaur emojis.
Naturally.
I don't agree with the 10 out of 10, but yeah, I mean, I cried like a baby. I don't know if you did.
I did get emotional at a point. I did, because I was surprised how much I had inadvertently grown to care for those dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Number 1.
Ocean's 8.
Now, did you go and see this?
Not yet. Can you believe it?
Well, actually,
Ridiculous.
because there's still a lot of coverage being given to this. I think because it came out so much later in the US, it came out like 2 weeks later in the US or something. And you think, oh, okay, that's weird. But everyone's still talking about it. It's perfectly fun. It's a breezy. It's like Ocean's 11 was.
Yeah.
Nobody was going into Ocean's 11 thinking this is going to be next year's Best Picture winner.
No, you
know
want
what
like
happened?
easy, fun ridiculousness.
It's a heist
camaraderie. Yeah, a romp.
A
That's
romp.
what you want. You want a romp.
You want a romp with 8 ladies,
Hey,
and
nothing finer.
And well, it seems that most ladies and gentlemen would have taken away Kate Blanchett as the most fun thing about this romp, and I can't agree any more with that. That's absolutely brilliant. Kate Blanchett is the bomb in this movie. It's worth seeing entirely for Kate Blanchett.
Excellent.
So has anyone tweeted?
They have indeed.
Mm-hmm.
We've got at God damn it, Stacey.
Okay.
God damn it is.
God damn it, Stacey.
And she says, Kate Blanchett in Ocean's 8 kicked me so hard up the Kinsey scale, I'm slightly winded.
You know what? Absolutely fair.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
And we're back, and who doesn't love a bit of Back to the Future? So, Ms. Needham, shall we retire to the Bookshop?
I think we should.
Okay, so the Bookshop is the latest film from Isabel Coixet, who directed My Life Without Me in 2003, which I had forgotten was like young Mark Ruffalo and Scott Speedman. Remember Scott Speedman?
No, who's that?
He was in that TV show Felicity, and they turned up in like Triple X2. And,
So he
and
was
then
like
the
Jeremy Renner of the time.
Yeah, he was the Jeremy Renner at the time, and then he's like the Underworld. He's the love interest in the
Jeremy.
Underworld movies.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
do you remember
Yeah,
him
of
with the?
course.
He has a lot of
With
hair.
the hair.
Big hair.
With the hair.
Big hair. Lot of product.
Yes.
Lots of product. Very coif or coif.
You can imagine that wasn't nice to run your fingers through.
No, I imagine you got stuck in there. Anyway. So, Sarah Polley was also in it, incidentally. Let's never forget Sarah Polley. Anyway, so The Bookshop is set in 1959 in Britain. And it's very much about the times. It stars Emily Mortimer as a young woman who wants to open a bookshop in a relatively, I would say, exclusionary community. She then finds, because she's turned an old house into this bookshop, she meets resistance in the community for that first. But then, in terms of the books she wants to sell, which are revolutionary for the time, and this is exemplified best through Lolita, for example. She can sell a copy of Lolita. She very quickly finds herself at odds with the community. It also stars Bill Nye and Patricia Clarkson. And guess what? We got a clip.
You live on your own, don't you? You've just moved into the old house.
Yes, I'm the one opening the little bookshop.
Many of us are not at all convinced by the sudden transformation of the old house into a shop. You do understand, don't you?
Dear madam, no one has plucked up courage enough to sell books in this forsaken coin of the world.
My first customer.
Completely forgot. It does also star James Lance.
Who?
That's what his agent says. Anyway.
I set you up for that, clearly.
You kind of did. Perfectly capable performances. I mean, you're never going to see Bill Nighy give you a bad turn in a movie. Same for Patricia Clarkson, same for Emily Mortimer. Big fan of Emily Mortimer. I love The Newsroom, for instance.
Yeah.
51st State, movies like that. Big fan of Emily Mortimer. The problem with this film is, I mean, it's adapted from a novel. It is Penelope Fitzgerald's novel. Isabel Cossette has adapted and directed it. Mm-hmm. And it does feel very much like one of those things that really made a great book, doesn't necessarily lend itself to a film. And it has that very much of a sort of ITV 9 p.m. Thursday night 2-part drama kind of feel. Yeah. Like even down to some of the casting. Yeah, you literally get this.
It sounded like the kind of thing that's just going to reinforce the stereotype that Americans have of English people.
It really is. It really is as well.
Yeah, we do like to talk about naughty things, but
It's one of those, Marjorie, we could be having sexual intercourse right now, but let's not. Like the Family Guy version of British porn. It absolutely is that movie. It's just Family Guy's version of a British drama. It's not to say it's an inherently bad film. It's just not that interesting. And there are so many ways. And I know it comes from, and obviously there is reverence to the source. It's obvious there's reverence to the source material because otherwise the film wouldn't end up quite like it is. But you do sit there and think, if you really loved this material, you just try and inject something into it. And the story, for instance, gives you ample opportunities that it could have gone off and done something interesting, but it really doesn't bother. And you come away thinking it was about capably directed, a bit workmanlike. It's not particularly visually striking. The performances are fine for that cast. They're about what you expect of that cast, but not really at the top of their game. This is, no one's calling this Bill Nighy's best performance or the greatest thing they've ever seen from Emily Mortimer, because again, The Newsroom. And let's not forget Patricia Clarkson, very much an Oscar baby once upon a time. So you do come away from it thinking, you know what? Decent setup, poor execution.
Bad times.
And that's a shame. That's a shame for me.
Sorry.
So, have you got any news for me before we go on to the next review?
Well, I've heard that the writers of A Quiet Place...
Oh, I like that movie.
Yeah. Do you know, I thought John Krasinski wrote it. Sorry, I digress.
No, John Krasinski is one of 3 writers on A Quiet Place.
Oh, I see. Well, it's the other 2 anyway. Apparently they're adapting Stephen King's The Boogeyman.
I love The Boogeyman.
Big fan of that.
When I was about 10 years old, The Boogeyman was my favourite story in the world. Because I read it as part of it was collected as part of Stephen King's short story collection.
Yes, it was.
Is it Night Shift? I want to say.
Ooh, could be.
It's like 1978, 79, thereabouts. I love The Boogeyman. Always wanted to see it become a movie. But even I, as a fan, could never work out, how would you stretch that to a movie?
Yeah, because it's a short story.
Yes, it is a short story. And even though it covers a lot of years, if you've never seen The Boogeyman, if you've never read The Boogeyman, have you read it?
I haven't. Right. I mean, I've heard about it. But...
It is the story of a man who's sort of at the end of his tether, his life is in tatters, goes into a psychiatrist's office and tells the story of, he and his wife had a baby. The baby died, cot death, mysterious circumstances officially ruled as cot death. Years later, he had another baby, cot death, only this time he saw something. Can't explain it, but he saw something. And then the third time, it happened again. Now, that's all I'm going to tell you. There is more to it than that. And it's really creepy. It is, for my money, it is the best thing Stephen King has ever put to paper.
It's in pretty good hands then, because A Quiet Place was amazing.
I think if they manage to make A Quiet Place work as a movie on the page, they can absolutely make The Boogeyman work. Honestly, read the story and the visuals that King creates. They are just terrific. Just absolutely terrific. Genuinely, I've never read better work from Stephen King.
Oh, I'm sold. I'm an audiobook kind of gal, so...
I'd imagine there must be an audiobook version of probably Night Shift, probably the whole collection. And there are other good stories in there as well. Quitters Inc. Quitters Inc. is in there, and that got adapted. Quitters Inc. is, I'll just say it's the story of a man who wants to quit smoking.
Oh.
It got adapted as part of Cat's Eye, which was a collection of short films in the late 80s. Quitters Inc. is, I believe, the first chapter of that, and it stars James Woods in the short story version.
Oh, we don't like him anymore, though.
When I read that story the first time as a kid, I always envisioned Alan Arkin as the head of the anti-smoking organisation. That's all I'm going to say. Read those two stories. In fact, The Balcony is also in there as well.
This
great
list
stories.
is getting too long.
It's a long story. Read Night Shift. There's some great stuff in there. Honestly, you will absolutely love it. So, where are we going to go next? Oh, you like a comedy, don't you?
I love a comedy.
Okay, you love a comedy. So, you're going to like this. Okay, based on a true story, Tag. Okay. It is the story of a group of friends. Now, in reality, you had a large group of friends, like 10 of them. 10 friends who, in college, started playing a game of tag.
Oh, I do know this.
I think I sent you an article about the true story like 2 years ago or something, and said, oh my God, they're making a movie out of this.
Yeah.
Right. I think it was one of those where I read the story, like, oh my God, in 2 years' time, we're going to be loving this. I don't quite think the hype is there like I'd hoped it was, but the movie is here, and it does kind of deliver, actually.
And it's got a lot of good actors in it.
A lot of good actors, including some that, you hadn't seen in the comedy for a while. So, in reality, you had 10 friends in college. They started playing a game of tag, and what they did was they limited it to 1 month a year. In reality, it was the month of February. For the purpose of the movie, it's the month of May. Not quite sure what difference that makes, but there we are.
Well, clearly a lot.
Right. For this month, all bets are off. This game of tag resumes, and it goes on year after year. They refer to it as tag season. For the purpose of the movie, we have 5 friends. They are Jeremy Renner, John Hamm, Hannibal Buress, Ed Helms, and Jake Johnston, Nick from New Girl. Right. And they've been playing this version, they've been playing it since 1983, since they were children.
Wow.
They've been playing this. There are certain rules. You can't tag back. For instance, like the person who tags you can't just immediately tag them back.
Got it.
No girls, that's another rule.
No,
and that's kind of it.
Girls have cooties.
Exactly. However, there is one member of the group who has never been tagged, and that is Serena. Sporting, by the way, the greatest pomp haircut he has ever sported. And I don't know if you remember this, Jeremy Renner does have something of a weird pedigree for comedies. He keeps turning up.
But he's pretty funny.
He is funny.
Like, he's freaking Hawkeye.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's freaking Ronin. Anyway, I promise you in a year's time that's going to make sense.
Sure.
Anyway, okay. So, the idea is Jeremy Renner's character, Jerry, is getting married. He's marrying Leslie Bibb from Iron Man 1 and 2 and Marvel Shorts. He invites his childhood friends to the wedding.
And it happens to be in May, I presume.
It happens to be in May.
That's bad planning.
Exactly. But he makes them strike a deal. They are allowed to attend his wedding on the condition they do not attempt to tag him during the month of May. Now, naturally, this is not going to happen. Their mission is to tag him, particularly Ed Helms, who brings along his own wife, Isla Fisher.
Nice.
In sort of venomous form that will remind you of Wedding Crashers.
Ooh.
And the game is afoot to try and tag Jerry. However, he has a particular set of skills, and the way this is manifested for us is in this. Do you remember the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies?
Yes.
How time would slow down and he would sort of narrate it in his head.
Yeah.
It's like, crack the brachial artery, smash him on the back of the head, kick the left knee, that kind of thing. Right, that's what he does. He is invincible. There is a very visually driven clip here, but Jeremy Renner's going to narrate it for us.
Hello, boys. So who's it?
I am. Callahan approaches from the left. Engage no contact protocol. No hand shall touch my body. Mental note, Bob slapped Hoagie with his hand. Hoagie is now it. Chili. He dives at me in a like fashion. Poor planning, poor execution. Piece of cake. I head for the door to escape. Sable blocks it. It's showtime. Hoagie is tagged Sable. He is now fair game. I speed bag him.
Never been tagged. Just saying.
I really want to see this.
You do, don't you? You'll have a great time with it. You will. You'll have a lot of laughs. I think, to be honest with you, though, you will come away having the same 2 issues, and they are exactly the only 2 issues you can have with this film. I think if you're out for a good time, you will have that good time, but you can't escape these 2 flaws. Those flaws are very simply, 1, this is a half an hour longer than it needs to be.
How long is it?
Just under 2 hours.
Ooh, that is long. That's like Judd Apatow.
Exactly. There are elements, and as part of the fact that it is that bloated, there are a lot of elements in it that are just sort of crammed in that don't really go anywhere. For instance, Rashida Jones doesn't need to be in this movie.
Oh, but she's good.
Even though she's introduced as part of a sort of love triangle within the group, doesn't go anywhere. But she's there. I mean, you know, she's having a great time. She's funny. She's never looked better. She's an absolute siren for the screen. Doesn't need to be there at all.
Yeah, fair enough.
My other issue is there are certain things, certain subjects that just represent what Chris Rock referred to once as a zone you don't go into. And I'm not going to name it, but just to give you an example, cancer, dementia, things like that, you just don't joke about.
Yeah.
You especially don't actually make them plot points that you then mine for comedy.
Oh, no.
And then ask the audience afterwards to then still find those characters likable and investable. It's a very big ethical problem that this film has at its core. Believe me, you will know it when you see it. Your eyebrows will leap off your head and you will just think, no, you haven't actually... What? You've seriously done that. It is noticeably the point at which this goes from being kind of a light-hearted boys will be boys romp to being kind of absurdist and almost surreal. That this could take place in anything resembling the real world. Because it's the kind of thing that gets you put on BuzzFeed as one of the worst people in the universe.
Oh, man. Is it kind of like... what was that film with Matt Damon, Downsizing? The kind of... Was she Vietnamese? And
it's that jarring.
Accent when
yes,
you're like
the racial caricature. Yeah, it's that jarring. Actually, it's a very good comparison. Thank you. I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Yeah, it's a very jarring sort of shift. It does take you out of the film. You'll get back into it because there are enough laughs to be had, but you never come back quite as strong as you left it. And that's a fundamental problem with it. Having said that, yeah, no, it's such a letdown because, I mean, spoiler alert, the film does that great thing that all true story films do, where over the end credits, you've got to see... No, we don't get real pictures. We get real mobile phone footage of the actual guys.
Nice.
There's a story I love to tell about this true story where one of the guys became one of the higher-ups at Microsoft, and one of his friends breached building security to try and tag him.
Wow.
And we actually get to see a part of that as well. It is fantastic. That's the problem. The true story is still better than the film, but the film is not bad at all. The film is a lot of fun. Having said that, again, it's too long. There's that story point, which I think is going to be a point of contention for a lot of people. It's like, did you ever see that movie Tomcats?
No.
Okay, well, there's a movie Tomcats, which is boys will be boys, let's make a bet, sex pat kind of a comedy, that then goes on a bizarrely prolonged storyline about testicular cancer that isn't funny and basically results in Jerry O'Connell chasing a severed testicle around a hospital.
Oh, God.
And it really takes you out of the movie. And that's a movie that stars Shannon Elizabeth as its female lead, so the bar was quite low to begin with.
Oh, man.
Also starred Jake Busey. We're checking out. You'd actually love it. Anyway.
I like a bit of Jake Busey, but the world has forgiven Kingsman 2 for the horrific misogyny.
Oh, you mean the surveillance device?
The only way to track this girl is to...
Yeah, let's not.
know.
Yeah, let's not.
You guys know, listening.
We know. We all know. And let's not. Having said that, like I say, I think on balance, end of the day, you will love it. I think you will have a great time with it. You and John will go and see it. You'll have a lot of laughs. You go to the VIP screen, sit down, have your pizza and your popcorn, and you will enjoy this. But I do think those two things, they are sticklers. They are points that you can't quite overcome, and I do think it ruins what is otherwise a pretty damn fun comedy, and a comedy that's at times quite clever. There is a Skype gag in this that you will absolutely howl at. Excellent. But again, those two sticking points, and it's a shame because as far as great boys will be boys comedies, I wanted to sort of tag this and have it be it, but alas.
With the latest film news and reviews. This is Offscreen, the on-screen radio show.
And we're back. One last ride, Ms. Needham. So,
Tell me about Adrift.
I was going to say ride. Let's go for a sail. Okay, so Adrift. You ever seen All Is Lost?
No.
Okay, well, it was Robert Redford who was lost at sea, like sort of shipwrecked at sea. That was the whole movie. Uh-huh. Basically, it's that with a couple. There you go. Yeah. I just saved you like 100 boobless minutes. I'm kidding.
Boobless minutes?
I'm kidding. There are boobs. Anyway. I'm absolutely kidding. Although, actually true, Shailene does show us the Woodleys again.
She loves it.
She for a young, sort of YA actress, she's surprisingly unadverse to nudity. Anyway,
because it's her body, she owns it. She show it if she wants.
I'm happy for her to show it as much as she wants. Anyway, I'm just saying, nobody enjoyed White Girl in a Blizzard. I'm just saying that, although, I'm just saying I did for other reasons. Anyway, right. So, this comes to us from director Balthazar Kormakar.
Ooh, what a name.
Who, he directed the original version of Contraband. Oh, no, sorry, he starred in the original version of Contraband, back when that was a foreign language movie. And then directed the English language remake, starring Mark Wahlberg in the role that he played in the original.
Uh-huh.
Right. He then went on to direct Two Guns, and then Everest.
Oh.
So, actually, he's not a bad director. He can, Two Guns, pretty damn fun. Slick direction, very sort of sub-Tony Scott kind of direction, like Man on Fire kind of direction.
Yeah.
And now he's back with this. And here's the issue. It kind of is all is lost with a couple.
Okay.
Right, so she is Tammy. She is an American, sort of, doing that gap year kind of thing. Like
the gap year.
The gap year, just backpacking, bumming around kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Encounters, the young, hunky sailing boy played by Sam Claflin.
Oh.
And they fall in love. It is meant to be. They go sailing together. He takes a job having to sail a couple's yacht from Hawaii to San Diego. But
How do people find these jobs?
I know, and he gets 10 grand for it.
What?
Can you imagine that? What? You know, if someone said to you, I'll give you 10 grand to drive my Ford Focus from Edinburgh to London, you'd be like, hell's yeah. But
I'm already driving it.
Bitch, I'm already in Peterborough. Never going to happen, but still.
Hey, the offer's out there. We're both available.
Yeah, anyone wants it, I will happily do that. But anyway, I'm not stopping in Peterborough. I can't stand Peterborough. Anyway, it's like Barnsley, but worse. Anyway, yeah, really, I stopped there recently. Anyway, so, they're sailing from Tahiti to San Diego as part of a job to take this yacht. They happen upon a hurricane, and he is incapacitated. His rib cage is crushed.
Ew.
His legs are battered, and he's out. He's kind of out for the count. He's pretty much just a voice at this point. He's kind of an unconscious, semi-conscious guy who's just providing a voice, and it is left to Tammy to sail them to safety. Here's a clip.
So, what do you think of that? Huh?
It's so red.
Come on.
What?
Well, is that how you describe a painting by Monet? Red?
If it was red, I would. Yeah.
No, that sunset's not red. That sunset is beet-dyed pomegranate.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Ross.
Didn't you say it's kind of got a
definitely
beety...
red.
No, with a hit of mandarin and flax, with the faintest hint of carnelian.
Red.
Red sky at night.
Sailor's delight.
Oh my God, I think I've thrown up.
You're not one for the big romantics, are you?
That's not romantic, that's just waffle.
And this is the problem with it. So here we are. So the film pretty much begins with the disaster. It begins with sort of Shailene Woodley waking up on the boat, putting the pieces back together, duct taping the holes, things like that. And then sort of goes through the narrative from there. But also they subplot it with the prequel stuff, with the lead up to how they got there, with how they met, how they fell in love. Sam Claflin is very much the supporting supporting player for this. It is pretty much all Shailene Woodley's show. And don't get me wrong, she's very much up to the task. Like, she's a great performer. Like, no one's ever going to say that Shailene Woodley's not charismatic. She very much is. I think she has genuine screen presence. And you can see that they've put a clear amount of effort into this, that they have really given it their all. And the problem is, it's a bit wishy-washy, as you can tell from the clip. It's a bit...
That clip was just awful.
It's a bit bile-inducing at times. And you do come away from it thinking, do you know what? I felt more romance for Robert Redford on his own on the boat rather than the two of you on the boat. Balthazar Kormaker hasn't really got much opportunity to show what he can do here. There's not much that you get to add directorial flair to here because it's pretty much, we're on a boat. You know,
oh my God, I really wanted to sing The Lonely
I
Island.
know, I was just thinking that. Everybody look at me because I'm sailing on a boat.
I got my swim trunks and my flippy flappies.
Anyway, so I'm just stopped because I will do a whole set of lyrics. I will go full T-Pain on your ass. Anyway, I suppose perfectly acceptable. I think if you've never seen All Is Lost, then obviously you're starting at an advantage anyway, because at least there's something of an element of surprise to you. It doesn't help that the character that Shailene Woodley plays is a little bit insufferable. And there's this whole element for us where, oh, she's a vegetarian, but she won't go fishing because, you know, this is this woman starving to, oh, I can't go fishing because I can't take a fish's life. And you start thinking, bitch, you dying. You know?
In fairness, as a vegetarian, I would rather starve.
Life or death situation.
I would rather starve. Fish is my nightmare.
Really?
I can't. I'd sooner eat a pig. Sooner bite into a pig.
Okay, but if the pig's floating in the water, you kill it and eat it, right?
Yes.
Okay, fair.
Sorry,
fair.
vegetarian.
But the whole thing is, she just won't kill anything and take its life and eat it. And it's symptomatic of this. And at the end of the film, you do get sort of true story montage bit where you meet...
She has a fish in the mouth.
You meet the actual Tammy, for instance, at the end of the movie. And you do get the very distinct impression, good Lord, I bet she never shut up about this either. There is a really insufferable element to it. And really, you come away from the whole thing thinking, do you know what? Pretty to look at. Shailene's all right in it. But other than that, there's nothing particularly to recommend about the film. It's not really one for the Sam Claflin fans in it because he's not got that big a role. He's kind of sidelined by the logistics of what's happening. He's kind of naturally sidelined very early on, pretty much instantly. Because, you know, it opens with the disaster. So he's incapacitated from minute one, and his only contribution is really in flashback.
Yeah.
In which case, his job is pretty much to be Riley's dream boyfriend from Inside Out, but with a yacht.
Aww.
So, on that ground, maybe my mum would like it, but...
I think I'm going to have a pass.
To be honest, for me, as far as watching it a second time, it's a definite pass. I would suggest it's one, if you really need your Sam Claflin fix and you don't own Me Without You on DVD, then, which I know you factually do, so...
Maybe it could be one of those things where when you're getting with a guy, it's relatively new, you've seen each other, and when you want to see how far you can push him. Like I did it with John, and I made him take me to the Hannah Montana film, and I had no interest whatsoever in seeing that film. I just wanted to see where the boundaries were, so thanks for that, John.
You mean like that time we went and saw Glee in concert together?
Hey, that was awesome.
Okay, well, this was the movie, not the actual concert. This was my first year reviewing. We had to review Glee. We'll talk about that later anyway. Okay.
Anyway, film of the week. Come on.
Okay, so
we know it's not Adrift or whatever it's called.
Adrift is not film of the week. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's for me. I would like it to be Tag. I would love Tag to be film of the week. But those 2 points and they're a bit hard to get over. Sicario, hands down.
Hey,
Soldado.
You know it's called Soldado.
I do. Soldado is film of the week.
Excellent.
Absolutely see Soldado. And if you've not seen Sicario, watch that first, then get really excited about seeing Soldado.
I'd need a good break in between.
But, I really want to double bill them. I would
You're
love
braver
to
than
double
me.
them. I'm waiting for the trilogy so we can have an afternoon of Benicio kicking ass and taking names.
I would need 3 days nap after. What's coming up next week, then?
So, next week, Natalie Dormer has got a thriller.
Oh.
In Darkness.
Oh.
Imagine enough, she is blind in the movie.
Oh, excellent.
So it is a sort of serial killer thriller with a blind chick.
Excellent.
So. We've also got Whitney, the documentary about Whitney Houston.
Oh.
which screened to surprisingly overwhelmingly positive response at Edinburgh last week.
Excellent.
We've also got Ideal Home with Paul Rudd and Steve Coogan.
Oh.
Where I think they are a gay couple who take in, I think it's Steve Coogan's estranged son.
Excellent.
We've got The First Purge.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to
Which is
this.
out on Wednesday next week as well. Bear that in mind, so you can go and see it 2 days before the traditional release day. We've got Terminal with Margot Robbie, Simon Pegg. That's out next week, which just looks bonkers.
Yep.
We've got Swimming with Men.
Oh.
Starring Rob Brydon, Daniel Mays, all-star sort of British cast. We've got that next week. And last, but certainly by no means least, and I'm very much looking forward to this, Elle Fanning in Mary Shelley, which is a story I've wanted to see for years, the story of Mary Shelley.
Excellent.
And I'm not sure off the top of my head who's playing Lord Byron, but I got to find out. Because if it's anyone but Douglas Booth, I'm going to be shocked. I bet you it is actually... Is it? I've seen the trailer and forgotten.
We'll look it up.
It might actually be Douglas Booth.
We'll look it up.
Yeah, so we've got all those to come and more next week off screen. In the meanwhile, this has been Kelly Stubbridge for On Screen. I've been Van Connor.
I've been Kelly Needham.
And we'll be back.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Off Screen. For more news and reviews, visit onscreenfilm.com.
Podcast extras, Ms. Needham.
Yeah, news me up.
News you up. Okay, I just learned something amazing. Right, you know when you were a sort of kid and you started to try out horror movies because it was that great point in the 90s. I'd imagine for both of us. I think
I started with The Exorcist.
Did you start with Did you start with The Exorcist?
Yeah.
You started strong.
On my own.
Did. I mean,
in my bedroom.
I went for the shit slasher movies first. But because that's where I started. One of the first ones I saw as a kid, I think I was about 10 years old, I really started to get into horror movies. One of the ones I sort of started out with, where I remember, was Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. Because, as a kid, you just get the concept of Jason Voorhees. It's just a boogeyman who just turns up and slashes you kind of thing.
Everyone knows. Hockey mask.
Yeah, exactly. It's become an archetype entirely unto itself, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Jason Goes to Hell had a character in it called Creighton Duke, who was like he hunted Jason.
Okay.
And he is the guy who ultimately sent Jason to hell.
Right.
He was played by Stephen Williams, and Stephen Williams, I think... He was in the original 21 Jump Street series. He was the captain in the original 21 Jump Street series. But I think to most people, arguably, he's probably best known as Mulder's second source in The X-Files.
Okay.
Mulder had Deep Throat in the first season, and then in the second, like when he was killed, he then had Stephen Mulder, who was the black guy who used to put the duct tape of the X in his living room window, and then he would turn up. I think his name was Mr. X or X. I think it was just X.
I need to rewatch that.
Everyone needs to rewatch the X-Files, but only until about season 4.
Oh, yeah, of course. Then you
can stop because it's crap after that. And if they could really stop reviving it,
that'd be great.
Apparently, they are going to stop now.
Good.
But do you ever find it weird that the X-Files just didn't work as movies?
I did find it weird, but then, do you know, controversially or not, I hate X-Files episodes that are about aliens.
Yeah, the Monster of the Week ones are better.
Love them ones.
Yeah, Tombs is like the best kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. The scary doll, all of that stuff. Love all that.
Before I get back to the Jason story, my favourite X-Files episode is? It's called Darkness Falls. It's from the very first season, and it's where Mulder and Scully go into the woods to like a logger's cabin, and they are hunted by these glow-in-the-dark insects that they're afraid of light, but they will they'll feast on you in the dark and suck all the moisture out your body, kind of like Morbius. Anyway, see, we loop it all back in.
All comes round.
Anyway, apparently Stephen Williams is up for is involved in a spin-off of Jason Goes to Hell, centered entirely on that character of Creighton Duke.
What, as some serial slasher
as like a monster hunter or something? The weird thing about that is that character was killed.
Oh.
Like, he died sending Jason to hell.
Spoiler.
That was his arc.
Maybe it's a prequel. But he's just older.
He's just older. Yeah.
He's like Benjamin Button.
I'm pretty sure, actually, Stephen Williams, the actor, I'm sure he played the granddad, the farmer granddad with the bolt gun in It. You know, the remake of It?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's the granddad in that.
Ooh.
So, I don't know, we'll see what comes of that. I'm all up for obscure horror spin-offs, like that's fine. Apparently, we've got news this week as well, but you know they're making a TV series out of Child's Play.
Yes.
And apparently...
Right, mind you, it did pretty much go TV style.
I don't know, I mean, did you see the last one? Did you see Cult of Chucky?
Yes, in the asylum thing.
In the asylum, which I thought was a great like Fast Five equivalent to the Child's Play franchise, but it did leave the series in a sort of weird spot where you could pretty much do whatever you wanted with it.
Yeah.
The series is going to follow on the continuity, like Ash versus Evil Dead style. It's just going to carry on the series, but on television. Apparently, Glenn might be back. Which nobody asked for. It's like a remake of Overboard. Nobody asked for this.
Oh, but I do love Anna Faris.
You can love Anna Faris, just avoid Overboard.
Sure.
But, I mean, you could literally... I'm pretty sure the working title for Overboard is Anna Faris's Mexican Vacation in Oregon. But...
she's recently divorced. She's, loving life again.
Yeah.
Let her be. We've got to forgive her. Whatever she does over the next couple of years, we just have to forgive her.
It's like she's divorced now, we just have to forgive her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so she makes a movie as crap as Passengers, we kind of just let it go. Okay.
Hey, I liked Passengers.
I know, but still.
There's a lot of controversy in that. But anyway, I'm not bought on the Child's Play TV show thing, but I'll watch it.
Okay.
I'll see.
So, do you remember the first Ant-Man movie?
Yes.
Right. I mean, obviously, I've got a bit of a bug up my ass about Ant-Man 2 because I'm not a football fan. And I'm more than a little bit pissed off that in the UK we have to wait 6 weeks for Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, because of the World Cup.
So it's getting released elsewhere?
It's out this week in the US.
What?
Yeah, it's out.
I thought we were past those days.
Well, it's Wednesday today. It's out Friday in the US. We will get it at the beginning of August in the UK.
That's ridiculous.
Because Disney decided.
Well, we'll all know
World Cup
exactly what happens at that point.
Well, that's it. Evangeline Lilly has said as much in interviews. This is stupid. People will just pirate it.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely correct. I mean, I personally wouldn't because I at least need HD to sleep at night. But, I can't watch anything. Unless you've got 720p, don't bring it here.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just going to get spoiled everywhere, though.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. Like,
Twitter,
we're all going to know.
Instagram, we're all going to know everything.
Well, the whole thing with Ant-Man, there was like a rumour for ages that we were going to get the title of Avengers 4 at the end of Ant-Man.
Yes.
And that was meant to be the big reveal. That's absolutely getting spoiled.
Yep.
There's an end credit sequence I've heard murmurs of that I won't spoil details about.
Yeah,
but again, I don't want that. I appreciate that I've had the news spoiled for me, but obviously, occupationally, I know that happens to me, so that's fine.
Plus, you don't mind spoilers as much as
I don't so much, but having said
I
that,
do, as you well know.
In this case, though, that information is going to reach you before that film comes out,
and I won't be able to help it.
Exactly. So great work there, Disney. Anyway, so here's the thing. The beginning of Ant-Man 1. Do you remember that really great, 1989 sequence at the beginning of Ant-Man when they have Howard Stark and Hayley Atwell in aged makeup and then a young Michael Douglas?
Yeah.
And it looked really good,
It was very good.
Because it was the first time we'd seen that.
Yeah.
And it looked amazing. Apparently... Well, they do it again apparently in Ant-Man and the Wasp because they have to set up the original Wasp,
right?
And there's posters out there for Michelle Pfeiffer looking like she does now as the Wasp, and presume I don't know, maybe she's in the maybe they get her out the quantum realm or something. I don't know. I'd imagine that's kind of it. But they did film stuff with her in period costume, like in 80s costume. Like we saw that bit in the first Ant-Man movie where they're on the missile. Ant-Man was, Michael Douglas apparently has turned around and said, I really want them to just do a prequel movie. And I'm up for that. Just stick the green dots on my face. I'll do the movie. De-age me in post. I'll do it.
Surely that's going to be expensive.
I don't know. I mean, Jeff Bridges went through all of Tron Legacy with that.
Did he?
Do you not remember? There's 2 Jeff Bridges in Tron Legacy.
Oh, yeah, of course.
There's present-day Jeff Bridges, and then there's the young digital version.
Digital.
Doesn't look amazing in that case.
No, it didn't look good.
But the Marvel ones already look better than that anyway.
True.
It's like the young Robert Downey Jr. already looked better than Jeff Bridges ever did.
Okay.
Also, you know, that was a great moment in Civil War. We just got reminded what a hunk Robert Downey Jr. was once upon a time.
I know, I loved that part.
That was a great moment. I liked that. And not just because I have severe daddy issues, and that sequence spoke to me personally. Yeah. Anyway, the less said about my
let's move on.
The less said about my relationship with Tony Stark, the better. Did you ever see How High?
No.
Right, I know John has.
He definitely has.
Yeah, John has definitely seen How High.
I've seen like bits of it. It's one of those things where it was like on in the background at lots of parties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, is one of those movies. Yeah. It really is. Right, so it starred Method Man and Redman. Yeah. It was a 90s sort of stoner comedy.
Like they smoke their friend or something.
Something like that. Yeah. It was well. Anyway, now we're getting a sequel. Oh, it's 2000. Bloody hell! It's 2001.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Okay. I thought that was like 98.
Nah.
But, I could swear I was still in school when that came out. No, I was in college, evidently.
Well, you kept behind.
At the end of every day, but other than that. Anyway, so this is a sequel / remake, so let's just call it a rebootquel.
Mm-hmm.
And this is described as, right, two young but business-savvy stoners embark on a pot-filled odyssey through Atlanta to find their missing weed, only to stumble upon a vast government conspiracy.
Oh,
you ever notice these movies are always set and filmed in Atlanta now?
Yeah.
It's almost as if those tax breaks are just the reasoning behind it all.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. That's very shit. That sounds kind of boring. They've kind of ruined that. It sounded very Harold and Kumar at first, and then the whole conspiracy thing, and then I've been put off.
I still want a fourth Harold and Kumar.
Don't we all?
I really do.
Don't we all?
Come on, guys, make it happen. Cal Penn, you're not that busy.
4D this time.
Yeah, 4DX.
Yeah.
Harold and Kumar 4. NPH will clearly do it.
He loves
John
it.
Cho's got Searching coming out, but other than that, I don't think he's up to much. They're not doing Star Trek 4 anytime soon. It'll be a couple of years away. And also, nobody's watching Designated Survivor. So Cal Penn has no excuse. I watched Designated Survivor. It sucked. Started strong, ended sucky. That's a series that couldn't even make its way by adding Michael J. Fox and Bracken Mayer to its cast.
Hey, aren't they like remaking Back to the Future, or there's some sort of sequel? Was that just like garbage?
That's always garbage. It comes out like every year there is a story about a new Back to the Future movie.
I got really excited.
I remember years ago.
Fall for it. Fake news.
That's it. I mean, I remember years ago there was a story that they were doing a fourth Back to the Future movie that was going to be set in Roswell, New Mexico. That Doc Brown's flying train was going to be the Roswell UFO, and that Marty's relative descendant would be the one who found the crashed ship and had to protect Doc from the government. Which sounds awful.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're getting a Bill and Ted 3, so who knows what I know.
Heyo.
Right. Do you know about Mile 22?
I do not.
Right. This is the new Mark Wahlberg movie. It also stars, what's her name? Lauren Cohen, who most of us just refer to as Maggie from The Walking Dead.
Well, there's no other way to refer to her.
Or Bella from Supernatural, because I was a big fan of her in that role. Also, Ronda Rousey and Iko Uwais from The Raid.
Oh.
Yeah, looking forward to that. It's directed by Peter Berg, who made Patriots Day, made Deepwater Horizon, made Lone Survivor. So, you know, something of pedigree with Mark Wahlberg. This movie just looks like a sort of Mission Impossible kind of thing, but set in our modern world, like no super stunts or anything like that.
Okay.
Just like a proper gritty action movie with a sort of Mission Impossible-y kind of team.
Okay.
It's not out yet. It comes out sort of, when is it? I think when it comes out. It comes out in August, right? Mile 22. Apparently, we're already getting Mile 23.
Oh.
Well, we're getting a sequel. I don't know if it's called Mile 23, but...
Well, assumptions can be made.
Yeah. Assumptions, yes. Yeah, I'll go with that. Right. Some of my favourite casting news ever. Right. Showtime are making a limited series, right? It's going to be called The Loudest Voice in the Room. It is going to star Russell Crowe as Roger Ailes. Yeah, you know the evil, sleazy head of Fox News who was basically a sexual deviant and one of the worst people in all of human existence?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, Russell Crowe's going to play it, so, you know, good casting.
Well, you know. I guess.
I just, like, really? I just, like, who comes up with these things? You know we're getting a new Men in Black?
Yes.
Right.
Set in the UK, though, right?
Set in the UK. It's going to star Sir Chris of Hemsworth, of the Sydney Hemsworths. It's going to star Ms. Tessa Thompson of the Atlanta Thompsons. I don't know if she's from Atlanta. I'm making that up. And Liam Neeson's.
Liam's
Neeson's. He's going to be the head of MIB. Like MIB London. The head of MIB London would be Liam Neeson.
Oh, well, I hope he's not doing that terrible, weird accent that he's sort of...
I don't know what Liam Neeson's accent is anymore.
That's what I mean, though. It's like Charlie Hunnam, where you're like, what is that?
No. First of all, nobody's as bad as Charlie Hunnam. Don't sell that man short. Don't take his achievement away from him, because Charlie Hunnam is truly awful at accents.
What is that accent that he's got? Like, what is that?
Always remember that great line from Pacific Rim that I never thought about the future.
Oh, don't! Like, actually makes my skin crawl.
What are you doing, Charlie? Come on, man. Anyway, so we have a new cast member for Men in Black. Kumail Nanjiani.
Oh,
yes, of the Big Sick and Silicon Valley, and I think we all know I'm a very big fan of Silicon Valley, and I'm also a very big fan of Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah,
Big Sick, I think is tremendous.
Hate him in Franklin and Bash.
Oh, I liked him in Franklin and Bash. Was his name Pindy? He was Pindar, but...
something like that.
Forgive the sirens, by the way. We're actually, because of the heat, we have to have all the doors and windows open today, so...
We're free-flowing.
We're free-flowing. We needed an air current, because otherwise we might die. Anyway,
True that.
Yeah, Kumail Nanjiani is going to play an alien named Pawnee. So...
Pawnee.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by that.
I can imagine some cute art for that.
Yeah, I imagine that would absolutely happen. Simon Pegg, meanwhile, has turned out said it's likely we're getting a 7th Mission Impossible movie.
Well, of course we are.
And yeah, I mean, the only question is this time, do we need to get Jeremy Renner back in case Tom Cruise then doesn't do the 8th? Or... Because that seems to be what he does now.
That's what he does.
You get Jeremy Renner on board in case the actual lead leaves.
At what point are we going to finally admit that mission is indeed possible?
It's not mission difficult, Mr. Hunt. It's mission impossible. You remember that line? That was a terrible line. That was a line that was up there. Do you remember when Star Trek First Contact came out? It was like 22 years ago. It was that awful line. And they put it in the trailer, which was like, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek. And you're just like, oh, just die already.
I love any line that's like that. Like, oh, so what are we? Some kind of Suicide Squad?
Funnily enough, in the movie Mod Squad, that's exactly how the line is delivered as well. Yo, what are y'all? Some kind of Mod Squad?
I love it. I love it.
It's that Peter Griffin moment, isn't it?
Exactly it.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Peter Griffin, the How High reboot call, that is being brought to us by 2 writers on Family Guy, so kind of about the right audience. What was the one I remember? I remember Clear and Present Danger had a line like that where the president says, these cartels represent a clear and present danger to the United States. And you're like, golf clap. Oh, he said it. Oh, he said it.
I love it.
I love it when they do that. Well, that's the thing Wilson and I have done for years. We always used to just do a golf clap whenever they said the title. When they said the title of the movie, you just do a slow golf clap.
It's a little clap.
Yeah, totally it.
I love it.
What is this? Captain America in some kind of civil war?
There was something I watched the other day, and I honestly can't remember what it was, but it was like that. It was one of those lines, and you really wouldn't expect it. And that's when I love it the most. When you don't see it coming, a relatively serious film, like Clear and Present Danger, and you have no idea it's coming, and then they stick
It's always
it in
nice when they just whip that rug out from under you, isn't it? So what else we got? Oh, we mentioned Morbius, obviously, the Jared Leto Spider-Man spin-off. We've got Venom coming.
Yes, as
there's
we know.
also Silver and Black, which I think is back on the drawing board at the moment.
What's that?
Which is going to be about Silver Sable and Black Cat, who are 2 women from the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, because there's this thing about how they want to build more female characters than male in the MCU. Have you heard that?
Yes, this is a thing. And to be fair, this is going to happen almost accidentally because the rate they're introducing characters and the rate they're introducing female characters sort of inadvertently in opposition to the rate, or in contrast to the rate that the male cast members of the MCU are sort of phasing out.
Yeah.
So, obviously Thor, Captain America, Iron Man kind of aren't going to be around in a couple of years.
Don't say it.
But money on Cap dying in Avengers 4, just by the way, just absolute money on it. Cap has to die.
Don't say it.
You can keep Thor, fine. And he apparently wants to keep doing them. That's great.
Good.
Robert Downey Jr., I think they'll keep on as a sort of cameo guy.
What's Chris Evans got to go and do?
Chris Evans, he wants to direct. Chris Evans wants to go and be a director because, he's a serious artist. Have you not seen his beard? He's a serious artist. It's a serious beard for a serious artist is what that is.
He needs to understand his space and stay in it.
Well, he brought his beard into that space.
Well, he did indeed. We allowed it.
Yeah. But anyway, so the thing is, we're getting so many more female characters into the MCU. I mean, this year we've got the Wasp.
Black Panther introduced plenty.
Lots, yes.
And they were all amazing.
They were. Well, actually, funnily enough, that's going to tie in a second. So, Kevin Feige has said, Feige, whatever you call him, he has said in a few years' time the female characters will outnumber the male ones. Fine. I'm a diehard Marvel fan. I can see absolutely no issue with that whatsoever. When done right, those female characters are absolutely head and shoulders above the male characters. You know what I mean? There's a certain lack of characterization sometimes with some of those characters. I'd argue like Doctor Strange, where there's a lot of tell, don't particularly show. Yeah, we sit and think, okay, I'd rather have, a female character in that place, but okay. He was also took to task over the LGBT component of Marvel. To which he said, funny you asked that, because that is actually something that we are actually in the process of not even developing, we're actually making those now. He said, and, well, we're gonna have two, and one of them is someone you already know.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
That is. I mean, and I hope it's not a really obvious one, like it's going to turn out to be Okoye from Black Panther. Because, obviously, with the whole...
Yeah, but isn't she meant to be married to...
Daniel Kaluuya's character, whose name I absolutely forget.
Yeah.
But they'll just... I just hope it's something not that obvious.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But,
Speaking of LGBTQ... And we were going to talk Jurassic World anyway.
Oh, they cut, didn't they?
They cut the scene that... I can't remember what the scientist's girl's name was.
Oh, I can't remember, and I had to look her up, because throughout the whole of Jurassic World, I sat there thinking, I know this actress from somewhere. Where the hell do I know her from? And there's a show I watch. I don't think it's particularly big in the UK. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called The Detour.
No.
And it stars Samantha Bee's husband, Jason Jones, who's also her production partner. Stars Jason Jones and Natalie Zia, and basically it's the plot of that movie Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation. Yeah. It's basically that as a TV series, and it turned out that she played Natalie Zia, the wife's sister. And that's where I knew her from. And she's
very good
she's
in Jurassic
played
World.
By Daniela Pineda.
Of course.
As Zia is the name of the character.
But yeah, they cut out a line where she basically, something with Chris Pratt's character where she was saying, don't date men, but if I did, they'd kind of be like you. Yeah,
she said, you're not my type, but if I was into men, totally be you.
Yeah. And then apparently they cut it just for time reasons. But you think, but surely you had a few seconds. I mean, I can think of a few scenes that could have been shaved or, just not included.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like that with Beauty and the Beast and the LeFou bit.
And that was just...
Yeah. And you start thinking, really? You could have ditched Evermore for this? Nobody wanted Evermore.
It's true.
Nobody gave a toss about Evermore. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's part of the legacy now. But nobody watching the film for the first time was like, oh my God, yay, Evermore. Really?
Nah.
Like we'd rather have had Gay LeFou. Actually, that's not even the one that pisses me off the most. As far as the LGBTs getting cut from movies thing goes, Yellow Ranger, Power Rangers. That one really gets me. They made such a song and dance about it in advance.
Did they? I didn't even know.
And then you watch the film. There is a reference.
She's the moody one, isn't she?
Yeah. Becky G, who's actually like a Hispanic pop singer in reality, and evidently quite successful. I follow her on Instagram. She provides great images. She does a lot of dancing and choreography. And
shut up. We all know.
It's fun to watch. So just never go on my Instagram feed ever. I'm not even going to try and deny that my Instagram feed is probably the most perverse thing anyone's ever seen. But it's pretty much underwear models and Tom Hardy. But... yeah.
Good combo.
Anyway, I'm kidding. Tom Hardy's on Instagram, is he?
So they made... What? I don't know.
Yeah, they made a really big song and dance out of her being the first gay superhero, because obviously Power Rangers technically count as superheroes.
Well, that's a stretch.
Well, yeah, kind of does.
I guess.
But then you watch the movie, and it's on Netflix UK now, so you can watch it yourself, but...
It's terrible. Don't do it.
I know, but...
Bryan Cranston, how could you?
Anyway, they make a very offhand reference to her sexuality.
Yeah, see, I don't even remember that.
But that's the thing. It's very snide. And it's delivered by her in a way that almost just makes it sound like sarcasm. And he's like, I'm not even vaguely going to pretend to take that seriously. You've not put a scene in the film. You've not bothered to flesh that out at all. You've been pandering about it. You're basically flying the flag in advance and then delivering nothing.
Yeah.
No.
You just think, don't bother.
Yeah. Go all in or don't bother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I just feel, I mean, obviously it's not the same in every country, but I like to think in the UK, it's also the kind of thing where it doesn't need to be a big deal. It can just be in the background of something. Like, nobody wants some all singing, all dancing, I'm gay scene.
No one needs that moment, exactly.
No,
but
it's just like, peck on the lips with their partner, like whatever, don't care.
I mean,
it's
actually,
just normal.
one of the tropes, and this really annoys me, is that a trope that I really hate in movies, there is a term for it, I read in some article somewhere, but it's this shorthand that writers use when they want to be pandering and include an LGBT character, but they're literally only doing it to be pandering. They don't actually care. And what they do is they just kill off a character and then have their same gender lover be like, oh my God, they're dead. Hold the cradling
By
the
the
corpse
way,
in their
they
arm.
were gay.
But that's the thing, it's never said. It's just like, it's just like a female character will die and then another female character will be like, no, and hold the body. Or it'll be like a male character and then another male character. Same thing. And it's a terrible trope. It's really lazy writing. Please stop doing it. And also, please stop dangling LGBT characters over movies and then not delivering.
Yeah.
Look, like LeFou in Beauty and the Beast is...
That is nothing at
That's
best.
a nothing character as far as his sexuality goes. I mean, he's barely a character anyway because he's comic relief, but... Really?
Yeah. I mean, I was severely disappointed because there was a lot of build-up with that. I mean, I really do remember that. Obviously, it was banned in various different countries because of it. And then it was literally nothing. Shall we talk about the ending of Jurassic World?
Oh, God, let's talk about this.
We have to give some serious spoiler alerts here, so if you haven't seen it...
Okay, spoiler alert,
skip.
we are going to ruin the end of Jurassic World. Okay, so Jurassic World 4. So, which bit of the ending are you talking about?
The fact that, and it's serious spoiler alerts, I feel like we've given enough. The fact that they release all these dinosaurs into the wild and then just bugger off and go, oh, well.
Someone else's problem now. That's what the National Guard are for.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Except there are, I think there's 6 that are sold off. I think there's 6 dinosaurs that have been sold to foreign governments.
Yeah, but I thought they all got released as well.
No, there were a few that had already been sold that were in the glass cages that they'd been bidded for and shipped out. So I think the implications is like 6 that have been sold privately, and then the rest that had yet to be sold are the ones that are nearly gassed and reduce you to tears and then get freed. Right, and then obviously you get like the pteranodons. Did you stay around for the post credits?
No, I didn't realise there was one.
Okay, so there's a post credit sequence in which I think it's 2 or 3 pteranodons. They're flying through the sky.
They're the flying ones,
the flying
right?
ones, and they land in Las Vegas.
Oh.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, they flew the equivalent of like, what is it, a 4-hour drive from... It's a 4-hour drive from California to Las Vegas. So they flew about 4 hours drive. Literally, it's just them landing in Vegas, cut to black. That's the post-credits. You do sit there and think, yeah, all well and good, except you've literally tickled our balls with this one before. Okay, you literally ended Jurassic Park 3 with, oh my God, the flying dinosaurs are coming for us.
Yeah.
And then did sweet fuck all with it.
It's true.
I mean, at no point in Jurassic World is there a reference to, hey, you remember those time those flying dinosaurs like hacked onto the mainland, like chewed up a bunch of bitches?
It's true.
Yeah, no, that never comes up.
But I always kind of thought that Jurassic World essentially wanted to pretend that Jurassic Park 2 and 3 didn't happen.
Well, that's why it goes back to the original island. Clearly,
Exactly. So I kind of let that one go. But I just think the ending of this, like, it's just so unsatisfactory.
I mean, it's designed as... Jurassic World is specifically designed as a trilogy.
Yeah, of course it is, and that's fine, and I'm fine with that.
So I assume there's a direction
to go.
But I
couldn't understand how the characters who loved these dinosaurs so much to the point where, they eventually freed them and all that and the other, just kind of went, meh, see you later then.
I mean, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has serious fundamental issues, like, to its core. Like, for instance, like, I don't remember them killing off James Cromwell's character. I swear I don't. I had to wiki it to check, And according to Wikipedia, Rafe Spall killed him. And I'm like, I don't remember that.
What?
Rafe Spall apparently killed his boss in the movie. And I'm like, I have no memory of that happening.
Me neither.
No. But also, in terms of shitty things that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom... I keep saying Jurassic World, I keep meaning to say Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. In terms of shitty things that it included and then did nothing with, can we just address the fact that at some point in that movie, it came out that they'd been using dinosaur cloning technology to revive dead humans? That never goes anywhere.
Oh, with the girl.
The little girl.
Oh, I do remember him killing him. Sorry.
You remember now? Because
Yes.
it is to do with the little girl, isn't it?
Yeah. He does. He puts a pillow on his head, doesn't he?
Yeah, I'd forgotten that. That's how forgettable that was.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, you're right, exactly. But that again, I kind of thought, well, maybe they're going to pick up on that
Yeah, maybe the next one.
another time. But
Yeah, but I'm sick of... Oh, we've introduced this one thing, but we won't do anything with it. Was it for the sequel?
Yeah.
But yeah, cheers for that, pal. Why don't I just wait for the
come
box
back
set?
next time.
Yeah.
I don't know. And like I said, I did enjoy the film. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed it. It's a spectacle. I wouldn't be jumping to go and watch it again quickly. Whereas I would watch Jurassic World any day of the week. I love that film. I really love that film. It's on like Netflix. I watch it every day.
That first park was legit.
Legit.
Can we just talk about how absolutely sick that gag is? Right. Jake Johnston walks into Jurassic World, a place he works at, wearing the t-shirt of a place where a massacre took place, where many people died. So just to put that in context,
a couple of people got eaten.
Just imagine you're a dude who works at Freedom Plaza, right, in New York City, and you walk in wearing a t-shirt with like the smouldering ruins of the World Trade Center printed on it, and then you go, yeah, those first two buildings were legit.
Yeah.
Like, how much of a sick bastard would your co-workers think you are?
No, that is a complete... See, I just forgive Jake Johnson everything, but you're absolutely right. That is pretty bad.
That's pretty goddamn sick, isn't it?
That is pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, first part was legit. What, was it the scores of dead people that legitimized it for you, was it, Jake? Wow.
I don't know.
Anyway, so we're talking about the Spider-Man thing. We were talking about Morbius earlier. There's another Spider-Man spin-off coming. Mm-hmm. Right, and they wanted to do Silver and Black, which I think is, it's still listed as being in development.
Okay.
And that's meant to be sort of their girls one.
The girls.
That's the girls' night out movie kind of thing.
Again, though, separate from MCU, so we're still talking Sony at this point?
Still talking Sony. They are officially referred to as MCU adjacent.
Of course.
Yeah, which is a nice way of saying we have exactly naff all to do with the MCU. We just can't use Spider-Man. Even though our character looks like Spider-Man because he's meant to be the evil villain. But never mind. I'm getting off topic.
Move on.
I hope the movie's good. I
It
really
will be
do.
explained, I'm
I
sure
really
of
do.
it.
Tom Hardy deserves it anyway. And I'm sure it probably will suck. But
It will. We know it will, but we'll see it anyway.
So, Silk. This is another one we're having, and this is also female-centric.
Uh-huh.
Right. It's a bit of a lazy one, although, frankly, the cynic in me is really surprised this wasn't the first one they did.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Silk is a character called, Cindy Moon. Right. Cindy Moon is a high schooler who gets bitten by the same spider as Peter Parker. So, guess what happens to her?
She dies?
Wouldn't that be good?
The end.
Mrs. Moon, why did you think your daughter would survive a radioactive spider bite? That's just silly. But yeah, no, she becomes Silk, which is basically Spider-Girl, for lack of a better term. So, yeah, bit of a lazy one, that one, isn't it? Well, we want to do Spider-Man, but we don't have Spider-Man. So,
we did a Spider-Girl.
Spider-Woman?
So, presumably this must happen at the same time that Peter Parker gets bitten by the spider, because I don't know what the lifespan is of a spider, albeit radioactive.
Not really.
Can't imagine it's...
I mean, this spider got around.
Well, clearly.
Yeah. I mean, the big selling point with Silk, I mean, from a sort of marketing standpoint, there is one genuinely unique selling point to her. Mm-hmm. She's Korean-American.
Oh, okay.
So that is enough to make us, in a very crowded marketplace, that kind of is enough to make her stand out.
Yeah, but why couldn't she just be a superhero of her own standing? Why is it got to be the spider then,
Why is there a Kid Flash and an Aqualad?
Well, I didn't even know there was. My same point stands.
Yeah, there is an Aqualad and a Kid Flash.
Like, people just run out of ideas and they just kind of go, just bit by the same spider as that guy. Fell in the same vat of goo as that person.
Actually, I really want to meet the guy that named it Aqualad.
Aqualad. That's
how high was he that day at work?
That is outrageous.
Imagine that. Like, okay, we need a name for Aquaman's sidekick, and there's just like one really baked dude in the corner. He's like, oh, no, Aqualad.
Like who can?
And I got lad, but okay, yes.
I'll go with Aqualad.
I watched Braveheart last night.
Yeah, exactly. I've just been watching the Oxford rowing. Aqualad.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, that's really bad.
Anthony Mackie and Frank Grillo are going to do the movie together. Because, technically they have done 2 Marvel movies together, so...
Oh, is he going to be in Purge?
Frank Grillo? I don't know, because it is a prequel.
Yeah, but, he must have been alive. And there was, like, a backstory. I don't know. We'll see.
It's entirely possible.
We'll see. We'll leave that for a nice surprise.
Scoot McNairy has joined the new Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If you're not... Scott, I know. Do you know Scoot McNairy?
I know his name, but I don't know who he is.
Do you remember Batman vs. Superman? Do you remember that character who served no function to the plot whatsoever, who had no legs but climbed up on the Superman statue and spray painted him false god, and then sent Bruce Wayne threatening letters and then blew himself up in the House of Congress?
Vaguely.
In the Capitol building, sorry. Yeah. You know that really good actor who's in that movie for no fucking reason whatsoever?
Yeah.
I just want to point out, I've had a few drinks today, so, it's podcast extras. We're fine. It's summer day drinking is what it is.
We're getting frisky.
He was in Gone Girl, actually.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was her ex-boyfriend who Ben Affleck went to meet. Who said, look, I didn't rape her. She actually did all that stuff kind of to herself and then blamed me, but everyone believed her.
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah. The one who isn't, her ex who isn't Neil Patrick Harris.
Got it. That's Scoot.
That's Scoot.
Good old Scoot.
Scoot McLary.
What's he doing?
Oh, God.
Scoot.
If he ever has a sexual assault scandal, that will be the headline. Scoot McLary. Oh, wow.
Well, let's hope not.
Yeah, let's hope not. Scoot McNairy, yeah, that's it. So he's going to be popping up in... Oh, God, I had it up on the screen.
I was going to say, we distracted ourselves.
Yeah, we distracted... Sorry, the Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, of course.
The first pictures came out today, actually.
I thought we were still mad at Tarantino. Have we forgiven him?
No, we collectively have forgiven him. I personally don't have much time for Tarantino.
Yeah, me neither.
Because I saw Reservoir Dogs, I saw Pulp Fiction, and then I was done about then, to be honest. Jackie Brown, I mean, admittedly, I was 15 when Jackie Brown came out.
It's so old.
Bored the ever-loving piss out of me.
Most Tarantino movies do bore me.
What came after Jackie... I think after Jackie Brown, there's something like a 7-year gap, and then Kill Bill 1 and 2.
What about Dusk Till Dawn? Or did he not direct that? Was he just in that?
I think he's a producer on From Dusk Till Dawn. He stars in it, but I think he produced it.
Because, in fairness, love that film.
Oh, I love From Dusk Till Dawn. But From Dusk Till Dawn was before Jackie Brown.
Was it?
Yeah, it was about 6 months before Jackie Brown.
Fair enough.
I love Dusk Till Dawn. Never got into the second series of the series.
I've never watched any of the sequels. I'm like, that film is lovely as it is, and I'm going to leave it as such.
There is not a single day goes by that I do not debate getting that George Clooney From Dusk Till Dawn tattoo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd obviously shorten it on the neck because I've read a book, so I can't have a neck tattoo. I've read books, but yeah.
Love a neck tattoo.
Did you know Jamie Bell has joined the Elton John movie?
Yes, I heard this.
That could be interesting.
But he's not Elton John, right?
No, Taron Egerton is Elton John.
Oh, of course. Oh, actually, that's a pretty good shout.
That's not bad casting, is it?
That is a pretty good shout.
I could see that. Although, the reality behind that bit of casting is purely because they let Elton John amuse himself on Kingsman 2 for a couple of weeks.
Oh, God. Do you know I completely blocked that out?
Oh, it was so bad.
I mean, I've generally blocked that film out for many reasons.
Oh, what's that, Elton? you know curse words? Oh, that's impressive. Why don't you do some more?
Do some swearing.
Yeah, do
Play the
that.
piano.
Yeah,
you're outraged.
Yeah, can you kick and drop the F-bomb? Oh, that's impressive.
Oh, Elton, you're still here.
Yeah, that's why you're pop royalty, isn't it? Yeah, cheers, Elton.
Ugh.
Speaking of, because Kingsman is not much of a leap from Kingsman to Kick-Ass.
Sure.
Kick-Ass is getting rebooted.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if you're aware of this. Mark Miller, who wrote the Kick-Ass books, sold his label to Netflix.
Ah.
Right. Netflix got into the comic book business and actually started publishing comic books.
Did they?
Yeah. starting with Kick-Ass. So Mark Miller launched this whole new wave of Kick-Ass books, and he's got like guest writers on like Kevin Smith and people like that. So it's like there's a new Kick-Ass who's a woman and Hit Girl, things like that. But they've turned around and said, well, we're going to do a new film trilogy. He's like, nobody asked for this.
I mean, when was Kick-Ass? It wasn't even that long ago, was it?
Kick-Ass was 2010?
Within the last
2010, 2011?
I was going to say definitely within the last 10 years.
2010, so I was living in my first apartment at the time, so I think it was 2010, like early 2010. And then Kick-Ass 2 was like 2014 and awful.
Yes, that was a terrible film. We'll not talk about the sequel. Well, that's strange.
Lord.
I mean, whatever. Cool. If it's on Netflix, I'll probably watch it, let's be fair.
You know, the thing that always sticks out to me with Kick-Ass 2, the book is really excessive and pretty much a Mark Miller book.
Yeah.
And then you watch the film, and I walked into Kick-Ass 2 thinking, well, you know, as long as it's a relatively straight adaptation of the book, it should be fine. No, it's not. They take some serious goddamn liberties with the book and the film to Kick-Ass 2. The one that leaps out at you in Kick-Ass 2 is, you know, the sequence where, is he Red Mist? Oh no, is he the motherfucker or something?
Yeah.
In the second one.
Yeah.
He's Red Mist in the first one. The second one, he's the motherfucker.
Yeah.
When the motherfucker leads his gang of villains into the suburbs to go after Kick-Ass's girlfriend.
Yes.
Lindsay, I forget the name. Lindsay Fonseca.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Nikita. Anyway, Ted Mosby's daughter.
Yes.
Yeah. In the comic book, they violently gang rape her.
Oh my god.
Yes, they really, the no holds barred, they violently gang rape her.
Well, I'm pretty glad that they decided to censor
I'm glad they didn't. Having said that, I would really rather they'd done something else besides what they did, which was this really just shit premature ejaculation joke.
Yeah, I can't remember.
The joke is he tries to rape her but can't get it up.
Oh,
and you're like,
grim.
Good Lord, really? This is what we got? Okay, fair enough.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
Do something else.
But now we're getting a trilogy, and apparently someone asked Chloe Moretz, and, well, I'm pretty sure they won't have asked Chloe Moretz. Chloe Moretz will have just offered her opinion unsolicited. And Chloe Moretz has said, well, no, they've not asked me, but I'm not interested in returning. To which you think, well, you know, you're about 25 now, love, so I'm pretty sure you've aged out of it anyway.
Yeah.
But,
she was the best part of Kick-Ass.
That was another one. The ending of Kick-Ass 2 changes the fate of Hit Girl.
Ugh.
Because she goes on the run in the film. Mm-hmm. She goes to prison in the book.
Ah.
They lock her up. But there's loads of little differences like that. But the whole thing with the love interest is different in the books as well.
Yeah, but I think with films, though, they're always trying to keep stuff as open as possible, aren't they? Because they're thinking sequel.
Very true.
Mind you, they could have sent her to prison. She could have broke out. Anyway, whatever. They make these decisions.
They do. And I wish they wouldn't. You know, we're getting a Turtles 3.
I heard.
I mean, all right, the second one's an improvement on the first. I'll give you that.
Come on, lowest bar going.
Very low bar. But the second is an improvement on the first. Not a great improvement.
Yeah, because in the first one, you just kept thinking, where are the characters that we know?
Yeah, where's Rocksteady Bebop, Baxter
exactly.
Stockman,
Exactly.
Mondo Gecko, Rat King?
Any.
Yeah, I know.
Any familiar ones that aren't the Turtles, obviously, in Splinter.
Do you know, the best comic book I've ever read was a Turtles comic.
Yeah?
Not even kidding. It's this. There's a really great almost conceptual art piece of a Turtles comic from about, I'm sure it's about 1990, and there's a recurring motif about rain evaporating over hot pavement, and it was all in black and white, and it was amazing. It was a genuinely terrific comic book, and I remember just buying it off the rack in GT News and Crystal Peaks one day.
Shout out to Crystal Peaks.
Shout out to when Crystal Peaks had a newsagent. And when it had a cinema as well.
Yeah.
And a virtual reality place.
I loved when they had a cinema because you could always guarantee a nice private screening of whatever you watch.
Yeah, because no one else went there. That's why there's no cinema anymore.
Hey, I told you recently I went to go and see I Feel Pretty, and I was the only one in the cinema screen.
Yeah, you invited me along.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and I think wasn't my response like, no, I've got stuff on, but I'll be really honest, I wouldn't go anyway.
Do you know, I didn't mind it.
Did you not?
Honestly, I didn't mind it. I know you had this issue around
the theology of it.
Yeah, you have to assume that Amy Schumer's like the ugliest, fattest thing. I disagree with you. Her experience is the general female experience, unless you're stick thin and conventionally beautiful.
She's
Honestly.
smaller than her own best friend.
No, I know, but I don't think that.
Okay.
I think it's a self-confidence thing. But anyway.
Bad Words writer Andrew Dodge is going to write Turtles 3.
Well, good luck to you.
Good luck to him. Bad Words is pretty funny. Michael Bay will produce. That'll be it. And hopefully that's. I mean, he didn't direct any of the first two anyway. But
Michael Bay just needs to go away. Ooh.
Michael Bay, go away. Not today.
Not today, Michael Bay.
Not today. Guy there. Dennis Quaid is going to star in a film called Reagan. 3 guesses who he's going to play.
A dolphin that's lost its tail.
Is that not literally the plot of A Dolphin Tale?
Maybe.
Yeah, he's going to star in Reagan. So yeah, there's that. John Voight is going to be in it, apparently.
Isn't he very old now?
John Voight is prehistoric now.
He's at least 300.
Now, I would be excited about this, except it's going to be directed by a man who has previously worked with Dennis Quaid, a man by the name of Sean McNamara, which, weirdly, is the name of one of the two main characters on Nip Tuck.
Yeah,
there
you go.
Strange that. But he's also the director of Soul Surfer. Yeah, you remember that one? I have severed limbs, but I'll surf again through the power of prayer. Based on a true story. Yeah, that one. Terrible movie. What else we got? There's other stuff. Apparently the first picture's out of Kristen Wiig in Wonder Woman. That's coming as well. I'm trying to think what else there is now.
Love a bit of Kristen Wiig.
I like Kristen Wiig, but apparently she was going to do her own TV show for Apple. You know, this new TV thing that Apple are launching next year, and she dropped out because the scheduling clashed with Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a shame.
That is a shame.
But right, I mean, one more story, and then we're done.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I think we did talk about this last week.
Okay.
Right. You know, John Travolta's got a new film out. Right. Gotti. Right.
Critics hate it.
Right.
Fake news.
We did talk about it last week because they put out a Twitter ad that was audiences love Gotti. Critics took out a hit. Who would you rather believe, yourself or a troll behind a keyboard? Gotti out now.
It was embarrassing.
Right. I forget. I think it's one of the guys, one of the Twitter film community, like one of the Twitter film critics, did some research because the critics score, which was like a 0%, it got a very rare 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. And there's only something like 6 films that have that.
Oh, I want to see that list.
Oh, it's a good list. The list is out now because of Gotti.
Excellent.
But it got 0% critic score.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it was something that only 22 critics, something like that, saw it. However, its audience rating was dramatically higher.
Oh, that's shocking.
Funny that. So, some investigation was done into just who those audience members were. And some interesting things came up.
Oh, no. This is making me feel embarrassed already.
In a lot of cases, these audience members had never rated another film.
Oh, no.
In other cases, they had only reviewed one other film, which happened to be owned and funded by the same people who funded Gotti.
Oh, it's so embarrassing.
Who happened to be MoviePass.
Oh, cringe.
Yeah.
That's really cringe, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Who's still trying to sell John Travolta? He's over. He peaked a long time ago. Leave him be.
Not if you ask my parents.
Well.
My dad thinks he's a fashion icon. My mum, for some mysterious reason, still
No
thinks
offense,
he's the
but your
sexiest
dad
man
lives in the Middle East. We know they're a few years behind on stuff in many cases.
That's true. They only just recently got Bryan Adams. Don't joke. I'm going to tell you, this is a true story, right? Genuinely true story. In 1994, right, I was wandering through the Egyptian city of Alexandria, where my family live, right? And I was just wondering about, and I love the old, they have really old start 1930s, 40s style cinemas there.
Yeah.
Because that's when they were built, and they've kind of kept up with the upkeep, but they look a little bit dated.
Yeah.
Right. I want to point out, this is late 1994. To us in the West, this happens to be about the time that Pierce Brosnan is doing promotional rounds ahead of filming GoldenEye. If you remember this, it's when we saw pictures of a Bond with scraggly long hair and stubble.
I Oh, yeah, of course.
You remember that famous image? It
Yeah.
never went anywhere, but yeah. Right. So imagine my surprise walking along the seafront in Alexandria, walking up, and then happening upon a multiplex that has, as its new release, and I shit you not, I am not making this up, The Living Daylights, starring Timothy Dalton. And even at 11 years old, I knew that film was at that point 7 years old. Wow. And every time I went back to Egypt, I kept noticing that this was the time delay.
7 years.
There was a 7-year time delay on Western films.
Crazy.
And I think I had a few years where I didn't go to Egypt, where I lived in the UK, and I went over there for a holiday once, and my cousin, who now weirdly lives in the UK, lives in Grimsby of all places.
I'm sorry.
I know, we all have problems. Anyway, Wilson lives in Grimsby. Anyway, he's rejuvenating Grimsby. Anyway,
it's been gentrified.
It's been gentrified, that's what it is. There'll be hipsters and baristas before you know it. Anyway, so I went over there. My cousin said, "Hey, we got this new cinema. You want to go and check it out?" I'm like, yeah, sure, bullshit. This is going to be hilarious. I think so. It's 98 at this point. It's late 1998. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to be great. I'm sure Wayne's World will be showing. And we went, and the film that we watched was Enemy of the State, which wasn't out in the UK at the time. It was about a month before it was out in the UK.
What?
And at that point, and this is still the case now, Egypt and the Middle East had weirdly, suddenly, like overnight, caught up with films. And was even ahead in some cases. Whilst on holiday in Abu Dhabi once, I went and saw Four Brothers before it was out in the UK. And the thing is, like, I always get stuck in my head, though, I can't get past this image. There's 7 years of missing films there. If you're a film fan living in Egypt.
They just don't exist.
Yeah. So it's like, imagine that. You've gone through, you've got a 7-year sort of time delay, right? You're watching films, it gets to you're watching 1990s films, you're watching 1991's films, and then one day, boom, 1998. So basically, you've gone from, like, Tom Cruise in The Firm to Armageddon, and you've skipped over everything in between. So you've never seen Speed.
Lion King.
Yeah, Lion King, Speed,
Titanic,
Baby's Day Out, shit like that. True Lies. They've never seen True Lies.
They don't exist.
Yeah, they don't know there's a Terminator 2.
Well, mind you.
They know there's a Wayne's World 1, but not 2. Yeah, oh, how dare you.
I know, John's going to disown me.
Yeah, technically speaking, Wayne's World 2 is a better comedy, Wayne's World 1 is a better film. But,
I know, I agree with that.
Yeah. But yeah, so imagine that. There are people in the Middle East who just one day lost 7 years of cinema. So
Mystery. Somebody should make a film about that.
They should. Oh my God. In fact, think of it this way. They have no idea where Mark Wahlberg came from. Think about that. Because to you and I, Mark Wahlberg came from the movie Fear.
Yeah, but they can just imagine so many other great places they came from.
Yeah, from the great Mark Wahlberg cinematic back catalogue. One day this dude just turns up and looks like a shrunken John Cena.
Would they know who John Cena was?
God, no. But that's it. If you've missed most of the 90s, like, where did Hulk Hogan go, for instance? Like, they don't know.
He's just gone.
He's just disappeared one day.
Gone.
They have no clue.
Yeah, we should make a documentary about
Could you
that.
imagine not knowing that Schwarzenegger's career went in the toilet?
Oh, that made me
One
quite
day
happy.
he's just vanished. I mean, on the plus side, they did miss out on Batman and Robin.
No, I love that film. Guilty pleasure movies.
On the unfortunate side, they also missed out on Batman Returns and, to a lesser degree, Batman Forever. But, yeah.
You know it's one of my guilty pleasures.
Which one, Batman and Robin?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of the idea that they had to, for what do you call it, gender equality reasons, include what's effectively a bat tit shot.
It's true.
But... I mean, to be fair, I still open my door to beautiful women the same way that Chris O'Donnell answers the door in that movie, which is, please be here for me.
That doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
On which note, here it is, your particularly insane moment of Cage.